I should have walked away the day she started locking her phone. Not that I needed to see her messages. I didn't want to. I never liked invading someone's privacy. But when your wife starts acting like she's guarding a national secret, even after 10 years together, you notice. And you remember. I remember the sound her phone made when it used to buzz on the table during dinner. She'd smile, roll her eyes, say something like, it's work, and flip it over. Now, she grabs it before I can even see the screen light up, holds it close like she's shielding it from the sun, then says, "It's just my sister," like she's already rehearsed it. Every time. You can call it paranoia. I call it instinct. I used to think I was the lucky one. I wasn't tall, wasn't flashy. Just a regular guy who went to work, came home and paid the bills. I didn't have any secret sauce. But somehow, I got her, and I believed that meant something. Her name was Lindsay. Still is, I guess. But she doesn't feel like a real person to me anymore. More like a shape I used to know. The same outline, the same hair, but hollow inside. The first real crack, June 3rd. I got home early. I'd finished a big client pitch ahead of schedule and decided to surprise her. I even brought her sushi from that spot on 3rd Street. The place she always said was too expensive to order, unless it was a special day. I walked in quietly. The house wasn't dead silent, but it had that muffled hum, like when someone's watching TV with headphones on. I followed the noise to the bedroom. Door half closed. I pushed it open. She was on the phone, her back to me, sitting on the edge of the bed, whispering and giggling like a teenager. I didn't hear much, just the way her voice softened. That softness used to be for me. She didn't notice me until I put the sushi bag down on the dresser. Then she jumped, said she was talking to her cousin in Florida. "You know how she gets," Lindsay said, laughing nervously. "Always spilling drama. She never had a cousin in Florida." I didn't say anything that night, or the next. I didn't even touch the sushi, just told her I had a headache and went to bed early. But I started writing everything down. Times, dates, phrases she used, her mood swings. I created a folder on my laptop called Home Budget 2022, and filled it with screenshots from our shared calendar, bank statements and photos I took of her car mileage when I knew she hadn't driven to work. It's amazing what you can learn when you pay attention. June 11th. She said she was meeting a client for coffee at noon. I swung by the cafe, sat in my car, across the street, watched every entrance. She never showed. At 1:07 I got a text. "Client cancelled last minute. I'll just run some errands." Sure. That same night she came home wearing different earrings than the ones she left in. Subtle, but I remembered. The first pair were silver hoops. Now she had gold studs. I stared at them while she brushed her teeth. She caught me looking and smiled in the mirror. "What?" she asked, a little too playfully. "Nothing," I said. "You look tired." July 2. She said she was visiting her sister for the weekend. I offered to drive her. She refused, said she'd take the train because she wanted some alone time to read. I tracked her phone. "Yeah, I did that. I'm not proud of it, but when someone rewrites the rules on you, you either play or you fold." And I wasn't folding. She got off the train at Westlake and checked into a hotel, room 815. I confirmed it later with the clerk, told him I lost a contact lens in the hallway when visiting a friend, needed to know where I was standing. She stayed there 2 nights, alone, maybe not. Doesn't matter. She came back Sunday evening with a tan she didn't have before and a story that didn't add up. Said her sister's kid had the flu, so they just stayed in. No beach, no photos, nothing to show. She smelled different too. That's when I knew it was over. I didn't confront her, not yet. I'm not the type to flip a table and scream. No point in making noise when you don't have power. I needed power. So I started gathering more. Lindsay worked at a non-profit, one of those mid-sized foundations with big posters in the lobby and no accountability in the books. She handled partnerships and donor relations. Fancy title, flimsy structure. I knew she kept her laptop password simple, her childhood dog's name, capital R at the end. I waited for her to fall asleep one night, took the laptop, opened it in the kitchen with my phone flashlight, found folders, emails, PDFs with donor info and receipts. Nothing illegal, just enough to show she was getting kickbacks from vendor referrals, free perks, trips disguised as conferences. Not earth-shattering, but unethical enough to ruin her career if exposed. I took screenshots, stored them on an encrypted drive, labeled everything with dates and cross-referenced it with her calendar. I wasn't just building a case, I was building a trigger. Every night after that, I slept beside her like a ghost. She started pulling away physically. Fewer kisses, no more morning coffee together. I played dumb, gave her space, acted like the world was fine, but every time she turned her back to me, I smiled into the darkness. I wasn't angry, not anymore. I was patient. Patience is underrated. Everyone wants to react fast, blow things up, get closure. But if you're quiet long enough, people show you everything, especially the ones who think they're smarter than you. Lindsay thought I was asleep when she whispered on the phone. She'd tiptoe into the hallway or pretend to take long showers. But voices carry, even behind closed doors. I heard parts, not enough to get names, just laughter, breathy I miss you moments. That awkward silence when someone doesn't want to say I love you too loud. She never called me babe anymore, but she used it freely with him. August 18, that's the night I found the receipt. She left her purse open on the kitchen counter. I wasn't snooping, just making coffee. The corner of a folded paper stuck out. Room service bill, Grand Belmont Hotel, 2 entrees, 2 drinks, 1 slice of cheesecake. I took a photo and put it back exactly where I found it. That night, she told me she was going to therapy after work. Need to talk about my anxiety, she said. Sure. I offered to pick her up afterward. She panicked, said she needed time alone to process, so I followed her. She drove right past the clinic, got on the freeway, took the west exit and looped through traffic like someone checking for tails. She eventually parked behind a strip mall. 10 minutes later, a black BMW pulled up. Guy in a button-down and no wedding ring got out. They kissed like teenagers who'd been apart for years. I sat 2 rows behind them in the parking lot, engine off, window cracked, watching through binoculars like I was studying birds. I didn't feel sick. I didn't cry. I felt calm. You only cry when you're surprised. I wasn't surprised anymore. He looked like a stock photo of a man who sells insurance. Clean cut, nice shoes, little smug, maybe 10 years older than her. Not someone I'd feel threatened by under normal conditions. But this wasn't normal. This was my life with a crack running down the middle. They got in his car. I didn't follow. No need. I had what I needed. I drove home and made a folder called Therapy Sessions. On my drive that week I started laying the groundwork. I talked to a lawyer friend off the record, just casual questions over a beer. Hey, what happens if your spouse hides assets? What if you suspect infidelity, but you want to keep things clean? He didn't suspect a thing. I also changed my direct deposit, split it between 2 accounts. She wouldn't note. She didn't check our statements anymore. She let apps do the budgeting. I moved half of everything into a savings account with no paper statements. Rerouted my mail to a P.O. box near work. Quiet prep. She was too busy lying to notice. Then I found the second phone, September 5. It was in her gym bag, zipped into the side pocket, a cheap burner, no passcode. I don't know if she was lazy or cocky, maybe both. Messages were brief, no names, just initials. A lot of can't wait and last night was amazing. I copied everything, and I texted him back, just once. I waited until late at night. She was in the shower. I opened the burner, typed, "We need to stop, he's starting to suspect." Then I deleted it from the sent folder and powered it off. She was quiet the next 2 days, more than usual. She cooked dinner for the first time in a while, chicken masala, my favorite, smiled across the table and asked how work was. I told her it was good. I told her I appreciated her. She cried, said she missed us. I leaned across the table, touched her hand and said, "I'm still here." That was the most honest thing I said all year. 2 weeks later, I sent the file to her company's board, anonymous, through a Proton Mail account. Every shady receipt, every unexplained flight, every vendor conflict. I also included a note, check the dates, cross-reference her calendar. You'll know what to do. I didn't hear anything for days. Then on September 26, she came home early. Her eyes were puffy, her mouth was flat. She sat on the couch like gravity had doubled and said, I got suspended. I asked why. She stared at the floor. Someone sent the board some documents. I nodded like I was shocked. Do they know who sent them? She shook her head. They're investigating, but I'm screwed either way. I offered to pour her a drink. That night we had sex for the first time in months. She cried afterward. I held her, told her we'd figure it out. I wasn't lying. I had figured it out already. She just hadn't caught up yet. October came fast. Her emails stopped being cheerful. She didn't dress up for work anymore. She stopped taking phone calls in front of me, probably switched to WhatsApp or Signal. Didn't matter. I had what I needed. What I needed now was the right time to strike. I waited until the day before our wedding anniversary. 11 years. She forgot. I didn't. I came home with a card and flowers. She blinked like I'd hit her. Said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I kissed her on the forehead. "Don't worry. Let's just go out tomorrow. Reset." She smiled. The next morning I packed a suitcase, walked into her office, and set it down beside her desk. "What's this?" she asked. I opened it. Inside was a printed copy of every message, receipt, GPS log, photo and email I'd saved. Clean, sorted, timestamps highlighted. "I'm going away for a while," I said. "You have until Monday to decide whether you want to make this ugly or not." She didn't say a word. I walked out, never looked back. I stayed with my brother in Colorado for a week, climbed a mountain trail, ate like a king, slept like I hadn't in years. By the time I came back, she'd moved out, left a note on the kitchen counter. "I'm sorry, I never meant for it to get this far." She didn't mention the burner phone, or the hotel, or the lies, just that it got far. I sold the house a month later, kept the equity. She didn't fight me. She knew better. The board fired her quietly. She got a job out of state. I heard through a mutual friend that she's doing okay. I don't wish her well, but I don't wish her harm either. I just don't think about her. And if I do, I remember one thing. She underestimated me, and I made sure she regretted it. Regret has a shape. It's not loud. It's not fiery. It's cold. Like standing in a house that used to be yours, touching walls that don't remember your name. That's what I wanted for her. Not revenge in the movies. Just silence. Just absence. The kind that makes you ache at 2 a.m. with nobody left to blame but yourself. After Lindsay moved out, I didn't date, didn't party, didn't pretend to start fresh. I just lived. My mornings were still quiet, my coffee still strong. The only difference, peace. That peace comes at a cost though. Sometimes you pay with time, sometimes with who you used to be. I used to be soft. I used to believe love was enough, that if you gave, you'd receive, that kindness returned in kind. Now I believe in leverage. November rolled in. I was working more, coming home late, not because I had to, because I wanted to. Being alone made me sharper. I saw people clearly, the little ways they dodge, the ways they stretch the truth when they think you're not looking. One day, I walked into a meeting at work. Just a standard update on client accounts. I noticed Jeff, one of our newer guys, was nervous, twitchy. He kept correcting numbers I knew were already accurate. So I stayed late that night, pulled reports, did my own audit. He was skimming. Nothing huge, just enough to pass it off as accounting errors, but enough to stack up. I took notes, sent them to our boss. No name, just flagged concerns. A week later, Jeff was gone. My boss thanked me privately. "It's good to have eyes that see details." I nodded, didn't say a word. You want to know what betrayal teaches you? It teaches you not to blink. People think loyalty is automatic. It's not. It's currency, and most people are broke. I stopped assuming good intentions, started verifying everything, even friendships. There was this guy Marcus, knew him since college. We used to talk twice a week, laugh about life, complain about our jobs, share dumb memories. After my divorce, he disappeared, not suddenly, slowly. No more replies, delayed responses, vague answers. So one day, I tested something. I sent him a message. "Hey man, just need to borrow a few $100, car trouble." He didn't answer for 2 days. Then came, "Damn bro, I'm strapped too. Hope you figure it out though." I never asked for help again, but I remembered. A month later he texted, "Yo, I heard Lindsay left. You good?" I wrote back, All good, got a raise, bought a new place, life solid, he replied in under 5 minutes. Nice, we should catch up. I never answered. You might think I sound bitter. I'm not. I'm just aware now. By January, the cold didn't bother me. I was running 5 miles a day, eating clean, sleeping better than I had in a decade. One night, I got an email from Lindsay. Subject, I owe you more than silence. I opened it. It was a long message. Apologies, regrets, the usual. She talked about therapy, about how she'd been spiraling, about how none of it was my fault, about how I deserved better. She ended it with, "You didn't deserve what I did. I see that now." I didn't respond, not because I was angry, but because I was done teaching people how to treat me. I never told her about the burner phone, or the photos, or the financial leak. She still thinks it was a coincidence, that maybe someone from her office just dug too deep, that maybe karma showed up on time for once. Let her think that, let her wonder. You know what people never talk about, what it feels like to win quietly, to walk away with dignity, to hold the truth in your hands and never need to shout it. That's power, that's control, and control is what she stole from me when she lied, so I took it back. Every quiet step, every moment of stillness, every plan made in the dark while she laughed in someone else's arms. I don't wish she'd begged. I don't need her to hurt. I needed her to feel exactly what I felt. Alone in a room that used to feel like home, listening to the silence, realizing too late that the person she betrayed wasn't weak. He was waiting, and he never forgot. She probably thinks I'll carry that pain forever, that some part of me still breaks when I hear her name, that I wonder where she is, who she's with, what she's doing. I don't. Not because I healed, not because I found someone new, but because I stopped assigning value to people who chose to be counterfeit. There's freedom in that, letting go without ceremony, closing a chapter without burning the book. A few months ago I ran into her friend Danielle at a grocery store. We nodded, polite. She looked surprised, maybe even a little curious. She said, "You look good, happier." I just smiled. "Thanks." She waited for me to say more. I didn't. I pushed my cart and walked past her, left her standing next to the fruit section holding a bag of lemons. That's how you win. Not with fireworks, but with restraint. I learned something else through all of this. Most people only love you for as long as you're convenient. The moment you become a mirror, when your presence reflects their shortcomings, they pull away. Lindsay didn't cheat because I was boring, or absent, or difficult. She cheated because she could, because someone offered her an escape from herself, and she took it. I used to wonder what I did wrong. I'd replay conversations, second-guess my tone, scan my memory for where I slipped. That's self-blame. It's a slow poison, and it feeds off silence. But the truth, I didn't fail. She did. She failed. At honesty, at loyalty, at basic decency, and I gave her more grace than she ever earned. The irony is, she probably thought I'd explode, shout, cry, plead. That's the story we're told, right? That men break down or blow up, but real revenge isn't noise, it's peace. It's walking away whole while the other person slowly realizes what they lost wasn't replaceable. It's choosing silence over closure. You know, sometimes I imagine what I'd say if she called me right now. If her name popped up on my phone, if I heard that voice again, I wouldn't yell. I wouldn't ask why. I'd say thank you. Thank you for making me wake up, for forcing me to grow past who I used to be, for teaching me that trust isn't a gift, it's a contract. And once you break it, I don't renegotiate. I wouldn't ask about him. I wouldn't want to know if it ended badly, or if he left too, or if she cries herself to sleep, because none of that matters. Not to me, not anymore. Some nights I sit on my balcony, glass in hand, watching the streetlights flicker on. There's a rhythm to this new life, a silence I earned, and every so often, I think about the man I was. The guy who brought home sushi and smiled through the lies. The guy who thought love meant staying. I nod to him. He did his best, but I don't miss him, because now I see everything. Every sign I ignored. Every time I made excuses for someone who wouldn't have done the same for me. And I promised myself, never again. This isn't a story about heartbreak. It's a story about clarity. About what happens when you stop waiting for people to change. About the quiet satisfaction of knowing you didn't stoop to their level. You stood still, you watched, you planned. And when the time came, you didn't strike back. You stepped aside, let the weight of their choices fall on their own neck. I know some people hear stories like this and say, man, I would have burned it all down. But that's the thing, I didn't need to. The truth was fire enough. She burned herself. All I did was let the match drop, and walked away while the smoke rose behind me.